you wouldn't mind, Mr. President, just the $1 billion loan you actually asked the National Assembly to approve to purchase equipment. What exactly is the state of that? And, sorry, it's a double-barrel question. The second would be, what exactly is the state of things with the problem we had with South Africa over the $9.3 million issue?
The $1 billion loan, because it's a loan, had to go to the National Assembly. I think the House of Rep gave the approval quite late. But we have not even, because it's a loan, so we have to draw. We have not even started drawing from that money. But the National Assembly approved the $1 billion loan. But we haven't started drawing. We'll be managing, and we also want to pay directly to countries. We don't want, because of this stealing of money, you call corruption or stealing. Well, thief is a thief. It's just use the word corruption to paint things that are black and look like not too black. What we are doing now this time is for military procurement. We do what we call government to government. Most the companies that produce weapons have links with their state government, the countries, because you cannot be allowed to produce weapons. They are not granite. So we are now arranging through the countries. And that money, nobody will see. Everything will be from central bank straight to those countries. We've not started disbursing it. The issue of the $9.3 million or so, actually that money is technically, yes, the money came from us, but technically it's not our money. It was paid to a company. But the only thing is that because of the circumstances of the transaction and the way the company ferried the money across to South Africa, it became an issue. And of course, the matter is in court. I believe they will get the money back, but the matter is in court.
South Africa has not returned the money.
No, the matter is in court, so until the court process is concluded. It's not as if the government is no longer directly in the
because
hands of the
government
government.
Yes. This company.
Yes, it pays the company. It's the company that carried the money to South Africa.
But the company has not delivered the weapons anyway.
Exactly.
So. No, they have. Yeah, it's a contract, so it is not our fault. But it's just, of course, we suffer some kind of bad image when $9.something million and the media, because especially in the political period where people paint all kinds of colors, but technically it's not our money. And because the matter is in court, so the money is there. So the company, because it's obligation, so they have to do their best to give us what we want.
Ibrahim has been itching.
Yes, I want to ask a question related to this one.
Which one, 9.3?
Yeah. If we remember, one of the reasons why the transaction had to go like that was that the American government was not willing to cooperate with Nigeria on the issue of purchase of arms from American companies, either in America or in Europe. Now, Mr. President, you have mentioned earlier on this night that Nigeria has procured the right arms to fight this insurgency. So I wonder if you have mended fences with the US government and you were able to purchase arms from American companies.
In terms of weapons, in a nation like Nigeria, you can never get enough. I say we have gotten reasonable that can enable us to combat them. I'm not saying we've gotten all what we would have loved to get. You just asked me about the $1 billion. As I said, yes, the National Assembly have approved, we have not drawn. But in terms of, the issues of the American companies is they felt that there are elements of human rights abuses in Nigeria about our soldiers. That is the insinuation that has been there. And that if they sell the weapons, it could be used. And because of that, they are restraining. But we are getting different companies, different countries that also produce some different calibers of weapons. Maybe if you want to buy this glass from the America and you cannot get exactly this glass, you may get a similar one. May not be as good as this, but it will help you do your work. But I don't need to come and enumerate the countries that are helping us and so. But we have gotten some equipment from other sources that, at least for now, we can move faster than we've been moving. And watch out for the next 3 weeks.
Ibanga?
All right, Mr. President,
there are insinuations outside there, and it's so right. And some of them, some people said that your supporters, very big ones at that, have said if you lose the election or the other party wins, you will not hand over. And especially at the social media level, and they've expressed so much concern that you don't want to relinquish power, you will not, if the election does not come your way. Can you explain this?
If in 2011 I said that I will conduct free and fair elections, and if I lose, I'll happily go home, and it should be recorded as at that time no African sitting presidents had lost election. But within this period, the number of African sitting presidents have been lost election. But I said I wanted to create the history to be the first African president that will lose election, but let the world know that the elections are free and fair. Then I just concluded the late president's tenure. I was just a president for about a year, acting for some months then. But I said that I would be happy to go home. That this nation is more important than any human being, and I still maintain it. Anybody who wants to hold this office of a president or any office at all and feel that he's more important than the nation, then that is not quite right. So if as at that time I said that I was ready to conduct free and fair election, and if I lose, I'll go. We're not to talk about now that at least Nigerians gave me the opportunity to be here for 4 full years. So if the elections are conducted and I lose, of course, they will inaugurate a new government. There's no way you say, okay, if I lose, I will not hand over to. No. I think unnecessary insinuation. Those are the things that make you a cab driver to be a bit.
Among several other people, my cab driver, my staff, my children. I ask all kinds of people to ask questions, anything they want to find out from Mr. President.
Those are insinuations that it's quite unfortunate. There's a lot of wrong information that is floating in the system, especially in the social media, even in the normal media, both television, radio, and even the print media. What you read in the papers, sometimes you feel sad.
Well, you are with us now, so we can clear a lot of things. So it's an opportunity to do that. So we're glad the Nigerians are hearing from your mouth, a thief is a thief.
Yes, a thief
you are not.
Don't paint it with corruption. If you go to my village and say this person is corrupt, they will just be looking at you. They don't know. They will not know what you're talking about.
And we're going to Facebook.
So, well, but if you say this person is a thief, everybody, the smaller child, the oldest person, will know what you're talking about. And so let's call thieves thieves.
May 29 is sacrosanct?
Of course, of course.
But
We've
I
said
wonder,
that severally.
The elections, you know, the rallies you just conducted, you just rounded up your rallies. So what are you going to be doing from now till?
Not quite. You know, we are yet to go to Yobe, and we are yet to do the Abuja rally.
Only two.
Because, yes. In fact, somehow, the key political parties, I think APC too, because the last day I had a conversation with General Buhari, the day we had the Council of State meeting. He said that they are also yet to do Yobe, Borno. And of course, all of us
for obvious reasons.
Not obvious reason. We were to go to Yobe on Saturday, but then we had to do the Council of State meeting and these issues to come up. So we felt, oh, let us hold on, because depending on the security issues, if elections are adjusted, then of course it's better to do the remaining one, maybe closer to the election. But elections are not all about open rallies. Open rallies are more like ceremonies. But a number of other all the political key actors are going around, go to different programs, meet some individuals, and so on. So those conversations are going on. You don't necessarily need to do open rallies, but you must be reaching out to people. All politicians do that. So that's what we'll be doing. I believe close to the elections, you see that people may do some few rallies.
Who are you reaching out to the most?
People like you.
Women? Or?
Women and youths. Because you control more than 80% of the voting population, the young people and the women.
So, well, it would appear I love security, and
you're going back.
I'm going back to security.
Security is key, because without security, I'm happy you love security.
No, I think
without security, you can't do election.
Let's talk about the Boko Haram, the ceasefire that did not actually happen, that we had some time ago. What exactly happened? Were we swindled? Was the government swindled?
No, the government was not swindled in any way. When you talk about swindling, it's like give money to people and they disappear. No, there was nothing like swindling. I know from the beginning of the Boko Haram, in my interviews, people say, oh, engage the Boko Haram. I say, yes, we are ready to engage people, but they are faceless. During the Niger Delta crisis, some of these Niger Delta key leaders, I met them in South here when Obasanjo was the president, then I was the deputy governor, later the governor. A number of them, it was in Abuja, in the State House that I met them. The first day when I called the meeting and some of them, when they introduced themselves, I was just looking at them. I was a deputy governor in Niger Delta, I didn't know them. What I'm saying is that when the president then invited them, they come because they are known characters. They have a reason to do whatever, whether rightly or wrongly, they had a reason. And when they invite them, they are here. For the Boko Haram, no, they will not appear. I visited as a vice president. I visited one of the strongest militant camps in Delta. When I arrived, Warri, of course, as a vice president, I moved with security. They send words across to me that I should not come to their camp with a weapon or with security. The security people say I should go back, I should not go. I say I will go. The people who follow me, none of them carry even a revolver. When we go to the camp, there are all kinds of weapons. They were carrying assault rifles and all kinds of things. We had a discussion. But you can't do that for Boko Haram because they are faceless and their approach is different.
They are still faceless till today?
So even that time, I set up a committee headed by the current Minister of Special Duties and said, yes, if we have any window for discussion, let us discuss. Because the interest of the country is paramount. Sometimes the West will say, no, people should not negotiate with terrorists. Yes, we don't have to negotiate with terrorists. But then, if there is any way we can solve this problem, it's better. Because whoever dies, whether it's a Boko Haram person that dies or a civilian or a security personnel, it's a Nigerian. And I feel the pains. I get security information on an hourly basis. So anything that will end it is something that I'm interested in. So what happened then was that we had a window through the Chadian system. It's not as if we just woke up to discuss with Boko Haram. And actually some people came for those conversations with my people. But it's like the Boko Haram, they are factionalized in a way, just like when you talk about the Niger Delta militants. Now there's no one umbrella body. Luckily you call them general. Every general has his own army. So Boko Haram have similar operations. Similar operations. So at a time, it did not get the blessing of all of them. So of course it failed. But it's not as if anybody was swindled. No, federal government was not swindled. Well, they didn't give money to anybody.
I don't think it would be nice for us to come here with you and not ask you, what's the one thing you've learned in this first term? Because technically this is your first term.
Yeah.
If indeed, let's play the devil's advocate, you win and you become the next president and sworn in May 29, what would you do differently?
If you talk about differently, yes, of course. If you stay somewhere, you may begin to adjust the way you do certain things. Because I've realized that in society, what people assess you more is it's not the real things you do, but how you get those things done. Probably because the common story people say is that, oh, the president meant well for this country. Yes, I meant well for this country. Anybody who is close to me, and I'm passionate about Nigeria. But they say, oh, people around the president do, people around the president do. So of course, you must be very watchful about the actions and inactions of people around you so that you don't continue to drag the reputation of the government into jeopardy. Wrongly or rightly, it's not as if some of them have done anything wrong, but the perception is worse than real. Sometimes you who is sitting there know the exact thing. But if the perception is different, you have issues. I'm just telling you about a university professor who said he came to my house. That man has never visited State House. Even if he has come here for a general program in banquet hall, I may not know. but coming to my residence. I'm not sure he has even visited my residence. Who told Nigerians that they gave him one full turkey in a house that they don't even serve turkey?
So
and if he pushes that story, yes, of course, we'll manage the perception better. And if you strengthen that sector, the image of government will improve. Because most of the problems we're having is the perception, not real. Because if you talk about concrete things that this government have done, we can challenge any group within these 4, or even if you put 5 years, and let's even add the 1 year using completing your address 10 and 5 years. If you take, let me go to the, I'm not even, things that are not too tangible. If you look at the body called the PTDF, Petroleum Technology Development Fund, it's used for technical training. From the one monies have been given to that institution. The number of youths we have trained within these 5 years for technical training at sub-graduate level, at the graduate level, masters and PhD, including pilots and so on. The number of people we have trained from that institution within these 5 years is more than the number of youths they have trained from inception to that institution. What we are doing with the money?
Perception. You do it differently. Maybe I let my colleagues ask one question each. Because I mean, I come from a home where my husband shares the same views. If only people knew how fantastic views underneath. So I don't know. But what about you?
Okay, Mr. President, you mentioned that you had a chat with your main challenger, that's General Buhari, during the last Council of State meeting. There has been a lot of mudslinging in this campaign. A lot of things have been pushed out, especially about him. Can you tell us your own personal assessment of that man? What do you think about Buhari?
No. If I should assess Buhari under the condition where 2 of us are contesting for one position, I don't think I'll be fair to Nigerians, and I'll be fair to myself. It's not proper. You are not being fair to me to ask me that question. We talk about mudslinging. I think it's worse. I think the garbage that is poured on me is much more than the ones. Not pure what I'm talking about. Because people come to me and say, President, in the social media, they've done this, they have done that, they have done that. I say, well, that is the cross we have to carry. Because I said that that's the cross a leader will carry. I know certain things that happen and the kind of effect on me, a number of people don't know, but I have to carry it wrongly or rightly. So, but if you talk about Buhari, I don't, social media, I don't, in fact, I don't even have the time no, definitely if you are sitting where I'm sitting, you don't really have the time. So I may not know much about what is happening. But in my opening statement, I told you that some of the things I observe, I feel sad. I feel sad.
Personally.
And I say, yes, and I say that it's not the way to go. And I said that, look, Buhari contested 2003 against Obasanjo. Contested 2007 against late Yaradua, which I ran as his running mate. Contested against me 2011. But even 2011, it was the closest. The environment was different. These issues we are describing as the mudslinging statements that people are supposed to make were not there. But so I said that the characters around us
have changed.
And that is changing the principles. And I remember when, of course, APC started their campaign before me. I think they visited almost 4 states before PDP started. And I had some of the rallies. And that's if you listen to me, the way I spoke in Lagos, I was a bit aggressive. Yeah, because the kind of statements that people made, it was not proper.
Can we just summarize that as sign of the times? You know, tension's high and mudslinging is going on, but it doesn't change the fact that we have the opportunity to clear some of these issues. So, Mr. President, you forgive us for asking such questions, but we have to ask them. They are hard.
Yeah,
we must ask them.
We
just have 1 minute each on both sides, so Mr. President can round up, so we can.
Final question then will be.
Final question.
I would want you to respond to the issue of campaign financing. I mean, we've seen a lot of money spent on the campaign trail. I mean, we've heard from what we have seen, it's not as if, and because political parties do not disclose how much they spend. Your party, for instance, raised 21 billion naira. Are you bothered at the amount of money that we spend in our campaigns, and would you want to do something to correct that situation?
In terms of amount of money being spent, it's been regulated by INEC laws. But the pressure on anybody contesting election, either a councillor at the local government level or a chairman of a council, state assembly, up to the president, the pressure is quite high.
Pressure from where, sir?
The pressure from the people, because I've been in politics from 1998-99 when I ran as a deputy governor today. So there's always so much pressure on people want to. Those are the things that worry us. That if there will be less pressure, most of this has nothing to do with even the formal elections. But if you talk about my party raising money, the PDP has been raising money. That money that PDP launched was merely to build their secretariat. That, we have a secretariat we've been building. It has been hanging. It was not money for election. No, it was not for election. And what you mentioned as this 21 billion, those are pledges. Did you see the cash?
Okay. So,
my final question, Mr. President. Do you have confidence that INEC, as presently constituted, will conduct free, fair, and credible elections for this country?
I told you that I appointed everybody in INEC, the chairman of INEC, I appointed in the national commissioners and the resident electoral commissioners. I appointed them, and they will do the work.
Sir, I would like to round up this now, sincerely. I would have liked to spend 3 hours with you, but you've communicated quite clearly to us that the nation is more important than even the current sitting president.
Yes, of course.
Very particular about what, and it's appealing to everybody on what sides. Although I wonder about the fact that there's only 2 parties we hear. There are many other parties, Abi. So, but I would like you to give us closing statements. Let Nigerians hear from you what your closing thoughts are.
Let me reassure Nigerians that elections will be conducted in this country, and the government will be inaugurated on the 29th of May this year. And let them not be perturbed by stories that are not real. Oh, Mr. President want to send the INEC chairman on 3 months terminal leave and bring somebody that will manipulate elections. Fine. Okay, so these are stupid things that people insinuate. Those stories, it belongs to the garbage world. I think those of you who use computers, there's this language like garbage in, garbage out. If you put rubbish into the computer, it will send rubbish to people. And the stories people read, get less than 20% of it, especially in the social media, less than 20% of it that you can really say that this is a credible story. Even if there is some credibility, it's overpainted. The colors they give distort the whole story. And when a story is distorted, the information that story communicates is always wrong. But let me reassure Nigerians that I will conduct elections. It's better for INEC to conduct elections that we all believe that is free and fair. It's quite regrettable that they have to reschedule elections. For us who are politicians, it's more painful because that means more tension, more this, more that, more sleepless nights and meetings, endless meetings. But even with that, it's better that elections are done in a way that Nigerians will at least believe that the elections are credible. If you, for example, I mentioned that in some states, Lagos State, Ogun State, as at that time, had less than 40% PVCs that were distributed. Less than 40%, both Lagos and Ogun State. Some states about 50. The tallies I'm hearing now have improved. So it's only proper that Nigerians be given the opportunity to vote. And especially we are coming from a culture where people don't used to care about how people get into offices, where people manipulate electoral processes. I can ask, if I ask any of you whether you voted 2007 and 2003, I'm not sure any of you even voted.
Are you sure we vote now?
But you voted 2011. And so let us, if we are coming from a culture where people don't even vote and all kinds of things happen, to a culture where we want every Nigerian, I want a situation where every Nigerian must vote. That is my commitment. But it may be difficult. INEC may have some logistic challenges. But at least even if they cannot distribute the PVCs 100%, the percentage should be fairly high so that Nigerians will believe in the process.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for watching. I think we can quote you on this, that Nigeria, there will be sworn in as, somebody will be sworn in as president on May 29, 2014. A president, government. May 29, yes. 2015. And this nation is more important than anybody else, Mr. President has told us today. So I suppose the least Nigerians can do is to at least go out there and pick up their PVCs. And on this note, I must thank my colleagues, Ibrahim,